This channel is for educational purposes only. Please do your own due diligence before making any investment decisions.
Hi, this is Joe Rabil with Invest Like a Pro. So today I want to go back and really try to just focus in on one specific thing. I mean, I know if you've watched my channel for the last couple years or read my book or, actually bought the course that I just put out, you'll recognize that a lot of it is focused on one specific thing, and that's trying to make money on a pullback in a trend. And why would I continue to focus in on one specific thing like that? And so I wanted to make sure you guys understand that I do it with a purpose. It's not like, there are so many other patterns I could be bringing up, so fancy stuff, probably get a lot more views on the channel. But when I started this channel, I really wanted, I was focusing in on trying to help people. That was the goal. It was, if getting a lot of views was a byproduct of that, then that's great. If not, so be it. So, what I wanted to make sure you guys understand, and there's a clear, definitive approach that I am trying to drive home here, and that is I want you to get a feeling for this one simple concept, and that is identify a simple bias in the market that tilts probability in your favor over multiple trades. If you can understand this one concept, and I would print this out and put it on my wall or something like that, until you get this one concept, you're going to have a very difficult time making money in the market. Trust me, it took me a lot longer to make money in the market because I didn't understand this. And I kept on looking for perfection. I kept on trying to add another indicator here, another indicator there. I started a whole different approach if I didn't have, win every single time. Now, as a result of that, it really works in your favor because I went through this, and I've really tried to make it simple for people to understand how to use multiple time frames, how to use these indicators to their advantage. But the whole goal of the channel really is to help you to understand how to identify a simple bias and tilt probability in your favor over multiple trades. I keep saying this, and the reason why it's so important to understand this over multiple trade concept is because it veers away from perfection. If you do one trade and think that you're going to make money in that single trade, that's a loser's mentality, believe it or not, even though you think you're trying to win. So I wanted to make sure I covered this in detail and gave you a really clear idea that if you can figure out how to make money in one single pattern, then yes, you can add other patterns into the mix. But start with one. And it doesn't have to be this pullback trade, but I do the reversion trade too. And if you prefer that, if you like to buy reversion trades, buy something that's exhausted to the downside or short something that's exhausted to the upside, that's fine. Get really good at doing one thing and tilt probability in your favor, right? And then once you've done that, then you could add something new to the mix. If you think you're going to go out there and just freelance and just look at patterns and say, yeah, this looks pretty good, this one looks pretty good, and just kind of fly by the seat of your pants and make money, I think you're going to be really frustrated for a very long time. So I wanted to make sure I covered that. And I also wanted to make sure that you understand. So there's so many variations on this same trade, right? So this is an example of the 2 time frame pinch play, but it's an undercut and rally on the weekly chart that pulls back to the 18, and here's your pinch. Right? And you don't really have ADX in your favor because you're inside the range on this deer chart. But this is still a good trade. It's an inside the range. It's the first pinch. It's below the zero line, but we have a really definitive pinch. And again, because it's an undercut and rally, it improves the quality of this setup. So I know I'm giving you one trade, and that's a pullback trade, and you're entering in on the smaller time frame. And in this case, it was basically, a break of the downtrend, and then we came back and we had our second pinch right here. We had no real selling strength on the downside. So a lot of these concepts are repeatable, but the patterns that are developing are slight variations. And I go into a lot of this into the course in the course just because there are so many variations, more than what I really gave credit for in the book. Now, one of the things that I want to just make sure I get across here is that if you're going to be successful, you have to be able to adapt to these variations. It's not like, so what you could do is look for the exact perfect pattern where it's like a zero line reversal on the low time frame where you don't have any overrun, and then on the higher time frame you got this strength and this pullback, and that's fine. You can do that, and I actually would recommend that as a starting point. But what's going to end up happening is you're going to go through periods where you don't find any trades at all because the higher time frame won't provide that as an opportunity, especially if you're coming out of if you're in a bear market, and the one we're in. So one of the main points I wanted to get across here is I'm giving you, these different variations on the same trade. Pullback trade. See, the pullback trade is a 2 time frame pinch play. That is still that is still a pullback trade. Okay. If you look at ADX and you're looking for really a lot of strength in ADX and then finding a pullback to the 18 and a stock that's in an uptrend, that's also a pullback trade. Learn all the different variations, but it's all the same thing. And that's why what I've been telling a lot of my subscribers when I talk to them is learn the trigger side and there's 4 different variations of a trigger that I go into in the course again that I think can be really helpful for you to understand how to handle a trade like this in particular. But I want to make sure I'm getting the point across that you only need one trade to be successful. And I think if you learn one trade, and my personal opinion would be use a pullback trade as your starting point, not the breakout trade. The breakout trade is a little bit tougher to get a handle on. I think it's a little bit different. But if you learn the pullback trade, I think you can be very, very successful as long as you learn the little nuances. All right, so go ahead and post any questions or comments. We'll see you next time.